G'day. How's it going, everyone? Hope you're enjoying your lunch. My name's Jordie Hansen. If you don't know me, that's absolutely fine. I have done some travels over the last few years with my family. We've been to some pretty remote places. Anyone been across the Plenty Highway? Nah, Plenty Highway, Central Queensland. Nah. Not a lot of people have heard of it, and probably for a good reason. It's a pretty remote spot, but we film a TV show called Jordie, Sam and Ted's Adventures. We're filming our second season at the moment. I also do some caravan reviews with Go RV, borrow other people's caravans and see if I can break them, basically. I spend a lot of time bogged. So if you like that stuff, look it up. Otherwise, basically today, I'm going to talk to you about off-road towing and how to prepare for a trip. For example, next week, I'm heading across the Nullarbor with the 14-foot version of this Snowy River hybrid. It's their first fully off-road caravan. So today we're going to put it through its paces. We're going to get over this shipping container and then over these timbers. I had a bit of trouble with these timbers yesterday. Actually, to be honest, I had a bit of trouble with the whole thing, mostly human error. So if you want to maybe just keep an eye on my inside wheel on that container for me, that'd be great. But that's enough of me. Let's go and see some action, see if I can break something. Snowy River said, the only thing you need to make sure you do is not break something. So, unfortunately, it's probably fairly likely. I'm going to chuck it into low range. For low, Tyler Thompson suggested I put the rear diff lock on, and that made a difference yesterday. Oh, g'day, Sim. Sim's in the back seat here filming me. And I'm nervous even without her here. So it's not just my life on the balance, it's hers. All right, pop it into neutral. 4 low, turn the aircon down. All right. Seatbelt on, safety first. Always safety first. Oh man, I tell you what, I'm nervous today only because yesterday my inside wheel was apparently was touching this inside container because the turn is quite sharp. So I hopefully today have given myself enough room. Just waiting for this to engage 4 low. This is the only problem with modern technology. Okay, here we go. Now, we are very lucky though to have today's modern cars are really well equipped straight out of the factory. You don't have to do a whole lot to them. Okay, here we go. We're going to start creeping up here. How are we going? Yep, I reckon we're sweet. You can't see a single thing when you come up over this edge. Just going to cruise over here because I'm completely blind to what's in front of me. I'm going to be honest. If it looks dangerous, you guys over here to the right of me, behind me, have a better view than I do. Do I look straight? Yep. Thanks for the nod. Not a super enthusiastic nod, but it was a nod, so I'm going for it. Now, as we come over here, ground clearance is a bit of an issue for this ute, but not for the caravan. The caravan itself has far more clearance than the ute does. And that's sort of the beauty of this hybrid, is that it's pretty much designed to go wherever you can get your car to go. So we're creeping down here now. There we go, van's coming down. Another good thing actually about this van is the drawbar. So you'll notice as I'm coming over, it's got what they call the gooseneck sort of drawbar, which means it allows plenty of ground clearance. Hang on, we're just going to scrape the bottom of the ute here. It's not my ute, so it does not matter. Can you hear that from the crowd? Okay, now we're going to creep over. We'll probably drag the actual tow ball a little bit. Little bit. Not too bad, actually. So, yeah, it's got this gooseneck drawbar that allows heaps of ground clearance in the trailer without having to have the back of your ute jacked up to a point that allows the ground clearance. So, basically, you can have ground clearance no matter what vehicle you have. So, that's what that's designed for. Just going to give it a little bit of momentum here. All right, this is where we got into a bit of trouble yesterday. Coming over these timbers, it requires a little bit of right foot, but not too much that you destroy the track or the car. Fingers crossed we don't do either, or I can't send an invoice. So, here we go. Bang. There goes the ute on the first. Another thing I should point out is the suspension on this Caravan. It's sort of, it's fairly individual in that it's called the SR Explore suspension. Dunk, there goes the ute. Basically, it's got these swing arms that come across between each spring, which allows extra traction and extra ground clearance. So that's something you should probably come have a look at in person. As we come round, I'm going to disengage the diff lock so I don't tear up the track too much. I think that's all good. Okay, coming around, still in 4 low, so this could be a tight turn, but we're not on bitumen, so it should not explode the central diff, fingers crossed. Okay, we're coming around here. Now I have to line up for the drive over this semi-trailer, which is not really something you do normally. However, it's entertaining to watch, so that's why we're doing it. We're coming over here now, and so another tip, actually, is it's worth having a spotter when you're doing something like this, because you actually can't see where your wheels are. Fiona, I can see you standing on the edge there. How are my wheels looking? Pretty straight. Okay, if I crash, I'm sending you the invoice. Here we go. Coming up. Happy days. Thanks so much for the cheer. That was great. Great support. There we go. How's that? Pretty good. Oh, thanks so much. Was that a cheer for me? Oh, yeah, I'll take it. Thanks so much. The other good thing about this van is it's actually a bit narrower than some of the hybrids you'll see, which allows you to fit through tight spaces like this. Obviously, the whole point of having a van is to get outside and go to campsites that, you know, are a little bit different to home. And so if you can't get your van into those tight spaces, what's the point in having the van in the first place? So that's something that is, there goes the rear bar, that's what it's for. That's something that's really important about having a hybrid. So I'll just park this up out the way, and then we'll have a super quick chat about the van itself. Actually, I'll come back a bit so you can see it. Here we go. You can probably see it there, roughly. There's a big screen in the way, but close enough. All right, pop her in park. Electric park brake. I'm not sure about that, but anyway. It's not my car. Okay, how was that? Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Alrighty, so now I'm not just here to show you how to fudge your way through an off-road track. I also have to show you how to prepare for a trip off-road. So obviously, it's important to plan your route. First of all, know where you're going. And so from that point, you can then work out how far it is between fuel stops. So you need to know exactly how much fuel you're going to use when you're towing. So it is super important. I've actually been caught out not realising that a headwind and the aircon on would make such a difference to my fuel economy. So luckily I had a spare Jerry or two, But that's something that's super important to think about. Now, I'm not trying to teach you how to suck eggs here, but there are some people that perhaps haven't had the experience of being quite remote. It can be daunting for people, but with the right information and a little bit of logic, it's actually pretty straightforward. If I can do it, you can do it for sure. I guarantee you, I am not the sharpest tool in the shed. So, obviously fuel, and then you've got to go through sort of tyres, you've got to go through suspension. Now, so we've done quite a bit of remote travel, and I've only in my life had one puncture. Right? One puncture. And that's through years and years of travel, growing up, travelling, and then travelling by myself. One puncture. Now, you know, wow, what a hero. Yes, I am. But I think that comes, thanks for the laugh. I think that comes down to tyre pressures personally. Everyone has lots of different opinions about tyre pressures. You know, my grandpa thinks run really high pressures because that helps the stones ricochet. He also changes a lot of tyres for an old fella. So, you know, everyone's got a different idea. But for me, I like to think, so basically you run your highway pressures, and then when you hit the dirt or a gravel or corrugated road, I like to run about 30%, depending on your tyres, depending on your weight, depending on your van, depending on the conditions. I like to run about 30% under my highway pressures. And that's just me. If you get a puncture still, I don't want a phone call or a message. You got to check your tyres and check your weights. But that's what works for me anyway. And now when we talk about tyre pressures, you then have to talk about weights, right? So for example, when I tow, I find that the drawbar weight actually tends to make your front end a little bit lighter. Does anyone else have that experience? You notice the front end gets lighter, you can feel it in your steering, and you can actually visibly see that your front end has lifted up a bit, yeah? Can I get just one nod so it's not just me, yeah? No nods, that's okay. So what I like to do is run my rear pressures a little bit higher on the highway to account for the weight. So on my ute, I have a 2024 Hilux, and so basically I run the rear tyres at around 44 PSI, and I run the fronts at 36. So that's to help the steering, because it can get really dangerous really quickly if you're driving along at the same highway pressures as if you weren't towing. That's in my experience anyway. I've had a couple of close calls because I got lazy with my tyre pressures. Now on vans, dual axles generally are, depending on the weight, pretty similar to your rear tyres in your vehicle, around 45 depending on the weight. And then on single axles with a bit of weight in them, you know, like up between that 2-3 ton mark, you're sort of running a little bit higher, like could be up around 50 PSI, even higher. So chat to your manufacturer and talk about what they recommend you run your tyre pressures at. They're pretty happy to fill you in about that. The other thing that's super important that I've found anyway is making sure your weight is balanced correctly. So once again, if your drawbar is too heavy, not only are you potentially at risk of voiding warranties, voiding insurances, but it gets dangerous, which is sort of the most important thing. And that's weights overall. I think if you have a little bit of a look around of people on the road at the moment, you wouldn't be surprised to see a few people fairly overloaded. It's sort of quite shocking how little thought people put into weights. So your GVM and your GCM is really the most important piece of information you need to have when you're shopping for a van. So, for example, just because you have potentially got the ute unloaded or your vehicle unloaded doesn't mean that you're not going to be overloaded. So you've got to look into your ball weights and double check your GCMs. Now, when we're balancing weight, obviously it's ideal to have a bit of weight in the vehicle because that helps keep the vehicle stable on the road. But then also, you need to make sure that your van doesn't have the weight too far forward or too far back. So what you can see a lot is vehicles driving down the road, sort of doing a bit of this porpoising down the road because they've got so much weight either in the back of their vehicle or in the front of their van. So you actually want to, and you can probably sort of see this van is really quite level right across through to the vehicle. And that's because of a couple of things. It's really well balanced, but also the height of the tongue and the attachment point onto the vehicle. So you can reverse them, the stock ones out of the factory, you can reverse those to adjust the height or find an adjustable one. Heyman Reese makes some good ones. That's not a plug, I just have a good one. But that's super important. You'll find your car drives completely differently if you've got the height of your toe ball balanced properly. So another important thing about this van in particular is that it's got the water tanks forward of the rear axle. So that helps keep your weight sort of over the chassis, over the axle, and then with a grey water tank to help balance that out behind the axle. And they're mounted nice and low. You want to keep your weight low in a van as well. And that's something to think about when you're packing the inside of your van. Heavy stuff down low, top heavy movement is hard to handle and can be dangerous. So that's another thing to think about. What else do we got? We have to think about recovery equipment. When we're packing for a trip like this, it's important to pack at least the bare minimum. I like to pack at least a snatch strap and a set of max tracks. I pack 4 max tracks and sometimes a spare 2 for the caravan, and then you can use them to level out the van in a free camp somewhere if you like. But make sure your snatch strap is rated to pull your car and the van as well. That's something that I got caught out on once as well. So you are here learning from my mistakes. The other thing is water. So this van's got 2 120-litre fresh water tanks, which is heaps, right? And now I'm going to give you a little tip that I did learn from my grandpa. He spent a long time on the road, currently living out of his van. But there is something he taught me about showering. Now I'm going to give you a bit of a walkthrough. I'm not going to actually take my clothes off in front of you. That would, I wouldn't be able to stand here and talk to you anymore. But basically, what you do, jump in the shower, turn the water on, wet, 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 shower off, right? You're all wet. Soap, 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 okay? Following? Shower back on, wet, 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 rinse, 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 shower off, done. You've probably used maximum 10 litres. Whereas if you have a 2-3 minute shower, straight away you'll find you've drained a quarter, maybe half of your tank, and then you're halfway down the Oodnadatta track. You got another 4 days to go, and you've got 3/4 of your water or half of your water. Funny enough, Sam's the one that has short showers in our household or in our van, and I have really long showers. So sue me, it's my quiet time. The other thing to think about is don't leave your hot water system turned on. So unless you have instantaneous hot water like this van, if your van doesn't have instantaneous hot water, keep that in mind because it will drain your precious water into its tank, into its little holding hot water tank, and then you could have used that to drink. So what's more, g'day buddy, how are you? Yeah, that's really important. The other thing about having a hybrid, when you're towing off-road, there's the obvious things, like the fact that it's at least maybe half a metre lower than a regular size van, which allows for better access into camps. you're going to clear your trees, you're going to clear low-hanging branches, but you're also going to save heaps on fuel. So that's something that I have been really enjoying about having a hybrid van. And when I tow this van across the Nullarbor next week, I am hoping I save some precious, precious pennies. Okay, now I don't have heaps of time, unfortunately. There's so much I could go into and talk about preparing for an off-road trip. But I would suggest you go and have your own experience as well and make sure that you try it out for yourself, because you can't experience it fully until you've been out there. All right, now, but I can't just talk at you. Part of the reason I'm here is to show you this new Snowy River Hybrid. We recorded a couple of days ago a film of the inside of the van, because obviously you can't see the inside of the van from sitting here. So please enjoy me from a couple of days ago. I actually have had my beard trimmed since then. I'm open to taking compliments after this about my beard. It's the first time I've had a beard. All right, press play, fellas. Okay, hello there, future me. You're doing a really wonderful job up there. I'm really proud of you. Okay, so this is the SRH 14. So this is the one that I will actually be driving from here to Perth, straight across the Nullarbor. Really excited about it. Come on inside, let's have a little look. Right, so the first thing you notice about this is obviously a massive bed, right? Full-size bed, not a caravan size bed, full-size bed. And then underneath here, little seating section to extend your living area. So that leads me to this space here. So you've got a nice little desk, sit down, play Uno, do a little bit of work, whatever you need to do. There's more storage underneath the bed and then across the sides as well. But the pièce de résistance, I think that's what you're supposed to say. This is the Snowy River Renogy system. So basically you can control everything from your lights to your aircon, even the awning, right? But then it gets even better. You can actually connect this to your phone through an app and control it all from your phone. Pretty specky. Let's go and have a look at the family size. This one here is the SRH 15F. So this is the family version. Come inside, I'll show you inside quickly and then we'll have a look outside. Right, so obviously the major difference is the bunks, right? Somehow Snowy River have managed to fit 2 bunks inside a hybrid van. Really, really impressive. And so then over here you've got your bathroom, which is a joint sort of toilet shower section. Plenty of living space here too, with a nice big bed, more storage and seating area under here. This one also has a 2-burner inside, so you can cook inside or outside. Come outside with me. All right, so this is sort of the party piece of these new hybrids, right? Very, very special vans. So basically all of this that you can see in front of you folds in on itself and slides into the one slide, right? So you've got plenty of space for cooking as well as washing up in the one space, which is sort of rare in these vans. So very, very special. And then you come over here, you can see a fridge slide, which you'll notice is empty, and that is because for a limited time Snowy River is giving away a 96 litre fridge. So come on down, make sure you check all of this out for yourself. It's very special. There's a lot of features in these vans that you probably haven't seen before. All right, so this one here is the 13-footer, a beautiful little layout here, but one of the sort of special things about these hybrid vans is you don't have to lift your finger. Oh, you have to lift one finger, and just to press this button. Okay, this one here is the SRH 16, right? So it's still a couples van, but it's a bit bigger. Come inside, I'll show you. So obviously straight away, nice big living area. And one of the things you'll notice is this is a different colour theme, right? So one of the really special things about Snowy River vans is you can make them home. So there are 9 different colour types you can choose from for this cabinetry. So you can really customise it and make it your own. The other thing you'll notice is the separate toilet shower. So for a hybrid van, that is very, very impressive. Within 16 foot, you've got a full-size van, living area, indoor and outdoor kitchen, as well as a separate toilet and shower. Pretty good. right. There you go. Thanks for watching that. I think it's pretty important you go down and have a bit of a look for yourself, though. It's pretty hard to see from just the footage on the screen. So go and have a look. There are genuinely a fair few things in this van that are independent from other manufacturers. So obviously there are a lot of hybrids out there on the market at the moment, and they're doing really well, and for a good reason. Hybrids are the way to go if you ask me. But one of the things that I think are important is Snowy River, when they developed this van, one of the main things they said was, what is going to be our point of difference? And so that's for you to go and have a look at. Obviously, one of those things is their suspension. And then obviously they've got a patented, is that how you say that word, patented? Kitchen build that is really, really special and different from anything else you'll see. So before you go and sign a contract, just go and have a little look. It's really important. Thanks so much for watching, guys. My name's Jordie Hansen. I really appreciate, I know you're just sitting here having lunch and I'm here anyway, but this is a bit of a dream come true for me. I used to come here as a little kid and watch people do a similar thing to what I'm doing, probably at a higher level. But it's still a really big deal for me. So yeah, really appreciate it, guys. Hope you get outside and make a purchase and enjoy those remote travels. Be prepared, unlike myself. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Oh, that's a big and. For the Victorian Caravan and Camping Supershow, the biggest and best and the most exhibitors and the Adventure Zone and the Kids Zone and the RV Master Stage and lots more. And only $20. Melbourne Showgrounds, February 19 to 23. Tickets at caravanshow.com.au.